Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the City Council for allowing me to address you this evening. My name is Carol Seaman, and I owned a house at 1522 Hitching Post from 1995 to 2021. When I moved 2 miles east in my mid-60s to find a home where I could age in place, I was sad to leave East Lansing. One of the factors influencing my move was the uncertainty about what my own needs would be in the future, and if I could potentially meet them by having other people live in my home to provide companionship, support, and informal caregiving for one another. It appeared needlessly uncertain about how I could essentially guess what my needs would be, and then hope that the city ordinances wouldn't block me from being able to achieve what I needed. I love East Lansing and know that we all want a safe and thriving community that welcomes and serves diverse community members from birth to death. Having also previously lived closer to campus, there are always concerns about making sure that we can be a good neighbor to MSU without having unreasonable noise, poorly maintained homes, trash, and vandalization in our own neighborhood. Obviously, ordinances and code enforcement are good and necessary to appropriately enhance the community. But when ordinances and enforcement are unfair or unduly restrictive, it is not a benefit to the community as a whole. I'm only going to speak to the issue of determining who can live in one's own home. I've never practiced municipal law, and I'm not only generally familiar with rental provisions and overlays as a concerned citizen. One overarching concept that drives my thought processes is trying to understand and keep in mind what ordinances are designed to accomplish and how to accomplish those outcomes in the least restrictive manner. My concerns are threefold. First, ordinance, rules, forms, and processes should be clear, direct, and succinct so that a reasonable, intelligent person can understand what is permissible, what is not, and how to proceed in their own personal circumstances. The current structure is not clear, as exemplified by the very different interpretations of words like guest that have been provided by city staff, council members, and community members in their questions and comments. I was a bill drafter for the Michigan legislature for over 3 years, about 20 years ago, and some of the most critical aspects of bill drafting are to use plain language, clearly define terms, place provisions together, or clearly cite how one can access other provisions that may pertain to a specific one, and inform people of penalties for any violation of the statute. Second, the ordinance should provide that homeowners are given timely notice of potential violations so that they can be remediated or effectively challenged. The testimony of bundled violations being delivered at once, resulting in thousands of dollars of fines, is inefficient, unfair, and as some cases have shown, possibly constitutionally infirm. My focus is on the fairness aspect. Most people want to follow the law, and many of you know I was the Ingham County prosecutor, so I'm really, I'm aware of people violating the law. And most people act in good faith. But feeling betrayed and blindsided by one's own government, whether it's local or national, is disheartening and does not build trust or civic engagement, both of which are desperately needed in the U.S. today. Third, fines for violations should represent a fair amount to discourage continued violation without being excessive. Again, I know there has been testimony and materials provided about the excessive nature of many of these fines and the results of some of the court challenges. What I ask you is to facilitate a process that is respectful of community members, acts in good faith, and assumes the same of other participants, and provides the least restrictive alternatives for homeowners that meets the community's needs for safety and well-being. I believe that the proposed ordinance amendment is a way to accomplish that, but it may not be the only way. Most critical, however, is that the process be open, flexible, and civil. There is no room for blame, disparagement, or name-calling. that sadly seems to reflect so much of our public discourse these days. I urge the council to truly listen without preconceived biases and to be creative in ways to address these truly legitimate concerns. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your comments.